It's time for another Dice Tower review with the Chief, Bart Brunscheen.
Hey, it's the Chief with the Dice Tower. We're obviously going to be talking about Rampage. I've got a little bow on Rampage. Whoops. I had a little bow on Rampage. This was my Christmas gift to all my siblings in the family. It's very unique. I consider it kind of in the class of a party game. It's very physicality is just so interesting and unique, and it definitely brings in that feeling of play. I'm not even sure how to categorize it really. So let's just go in and take a look. Oh, before I forget, Anton Bauza and Ludwig Boblanc are the designers, and they deserve credit because this is just a load of fun. Here we go. Beautiful board. I'm going to go in a little bit tighter. You'll notice I haven't fully set up the board just because I wanted to display. These are the rubble tiles here. When they're built up, they're going to have basically 3 levels or 3 pieces of cardboard on them with meeples actually propping up the buildings in between. But we'll go in and take a close look. You got box cover, you got the buildings, you got the board. I've got 2 of the monsters, blue and red, already positioned on their feet. We'll go in and look closer at those. And you can just kind of see the cards peeking out. 1-time super secret power, just your normal power that your monster is going to have, and then kind of like your individual character, and we'll look at some of those as well. The little monster heads here are blinds that you hide your points behind, the meeples that you're going to collect, and there's teeth here, and we'll go in and talk a bit about those in a second too. You will notice that some of my meeples have stickers on them because some versions of the game came with these stickers that go on the meeples, but there are so many meeples that although I keep playing the game, I have yet to get all the stickers on. I get a little bored and I kind of take a break. So you'll see some of these meeples will have stickers, some won't. Besides the buildings that you see built up and the ones that I haven't built, just so you can see the difference between the two, you've got very distinct neighborhoods. The neighborhoods are important because as you move your monster around via his feet, which will be flicked around the board like a puck, if I were to land in this neighborhood with my monster, I would be able to eat any meeples that had fallen in this roadway. Same would go if I was in this nice little park or if I was on the beach. So, but if I'm hanging out in this parking lot and there's meeples laying right here, normally I'm not going to be able to eat them. We'll get into some rules later on some of the cards that may allow me to do that. So that's the purpose of the neighborhoods. Second thing, just let me lift off one of these here, and you can see that each one of these buildings has got a nice little interior design, and they will also have a flip side, which is going to be a roof design. I'll show you a couple of them here. So the nice thing is as you're building these buildings, which can take a little bit of time, you pick one up, you're always going to have an interior and you're always going to have a roof. By the way, Batman. It tells you exactly where you're going to put meeples. And if you notice it's on this side, you're going to have a meeple showing up in each corner. So it's very intuitive, very easy. My 7-year-old son helps me build this all the time. You got a little different designs that are showing up. So little tiger rug. And again, every one of these is reversible, so you're always going to have a roof, an interior. And it also gives you a little bit of variety as you're going around. Now, besides the squares, you're going to have some rectangles. So I've got a theater, and I've got a nice roof, and I've got some kind of, I thought it was cash and guns at first, but maybe it's just mafia because there's some kind of weird sawed-off shotgun. And roof, and you're going to see the same kind of thing over and over. So again, meeples are placed where they're supposed to go. And the one that's a little bit different, you'll see the stadium. The stadium actually is going to have the 4 guys on top, and then it's got a very strong base. There's 3 on each baseline. The other thing you can't quite see is each one of these little rubble areas is actually glued onto the board. When you get the game, you got to put it together a little bit. What these do is that they make it a lot harder for your little monster feet puck to travel around the board because you're going to be hitting these buildings. You have a little player blind, which is your monster. Your monster's designed to always have 2 permanent teeth. You can't lose those. But these teeth on the bottom, they can get knocked out. And if another monster basically knocks your guy down somewhere on the board, he falls down, you are going to lose a teeth. The other monster basically has broken your tooth and he takes it as a victory point. When you collect these teeth, they're going to go behind your player blind so no one knows exactly how many points you have. When you knock down one of these little cardboard building pieces, they're also going to go behind your player blind. And as you eat your little meeples, they too will go behind your player blind. So let's go into how you're actually going to do that. So on my turn, let's say my feet were here and my monster's here. I can take 2 actions, and there's 4 different types of actions that I can do. I can even do the same one twice. First one's very simple, pick up my monster, and I get to simply flick. That was a horrible flick, but let's just say I got flicked all the way over here. That would be a move, and I could put my monster back on my feet. Now he's not quite touching the sidewalk, so let's pretend this stopped actually right on the sidewalk. It's important because if your feet are on the sidewalk, you can end up stomping on the building or jumping on the building or hitting it with your tail or however you want to picture it. The official move is called demolish, and it is as simple as this. You're supposed to pick up, your hand's supposed to be perpendicular with the table, and you're going to drop onto the building. Now you want to make sure you hit the building because you're going to lose a tooth. Well, I think you lose a tooth if you miss the building. And your goal is to either knock the building over, knock these meeples out into the different areas, and basically just do destruction. So I've knocked a couple off. There's a key thing here. There's still 1 piece of meeple on this piece of cardboard. If that had been off, I would have collected that, and that would have been one of the ways I would get that piece of cardboard into my player blind. The other thing I can do is if I'm in a neighborhood where there is a vehicle, and you'll see there's these cool little vehicles, a fire truck that match pictures that are on the board. You've got a Humvee right here. You've got a news truck that's turned over. You've got, I think this is some kind of, ice cream truck. If you're in the same neighborhood, you can pick this up and I can flick it off of my head, and I can either try to do destruction, knock over other monsters, whatever. It's as if you're picking this vehicle up and just throwing it around the city. And the last one, which is a little harder, which I'm not going to do just because the way I've got my mic on and everything, but you literally bring your chin down to the monster on the board, and you're supposed to not inhale until your chin is touching the top of the monster's head. That way I can't suck in this huge deep breath. I inhale, and then I can blow my air out and try to blow these little meeples off the buildings, or I can try to actually blow a building down, blow a monster down. So breath. So you've got some kind of horrible toxic breath. And that's it. So you're going to do those actions. After you're done with those actions, you'll be able to consume the number of meeples that are in your neighborhood. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to get a character card, a power card, and a super secret power. I'll show you a couple of these now. Here your character would be shy. Blue is supposed to be the media. So your character does not like the media, and if at the end of the game they've eaten or consumed the most blue meeples or the most media people running around, they're going to get a bonus of 10. And you just get tons that are in here. I won't go into all of them, but the art is cute, it's fun, it's whimsical, it's awesome. So the power card, everybody's also going to have a power card along with their personality. So here we've got stretchy paws. This is going to allow you to move your feet or your little puck anywhere around in the neighborhood you are before you actually start your turn and take one of your 2 actions. We've got jumper. You get to take your paws, put them on your head, and flick them so you can kind of avoid these glued down destructive zones because you're going to be able to shoot right over the top of them. You don't want to shoot your puck off the board or you're going to break a tooth. And I'll get to it in a second. You don't want to knock meeples off the board either because that's considered an escape. And finally, the super secret power. You're going to be only able to use this once. The other ones are persistent, and they're usually having to do with scoring bonus points at the end of the game. But here you've got the catcher. He's actually going to be able to pick up another monster, flick him like you would a car, and he's going to get a broken tooth for doing that. Let me show you the Runaway Meeple card. This is a very neat innovation. So if the meeples are actually knocked off the board as you're doing all your destruction and damage, the active player can end up suffering a punishment. So if you're playing on side A, I'll show you side B in a second, the first 3 are going to break a tooth for that active player. Now on this side, it's all dependent on the color on what happens to you. Now the game is nearly over when a player gobbles the final floor or simply knocks it outside the city. That player will finish the turn, and then each other player is going to take one last turn, and then the game is over. Again, the winner is going to be based on the one who scores the most points. So you're going to get 2 points for every tooth that's consumed, 1 point for every floor tile that you've knocked down, destructed, or gotten a meeple off of, basically, and put in your stomach. You're going to get those little bonuses for your character card. And then don't forget the meeples that you're collecting. You're trying to get those sets of 6. So like the rainbow colors of all 6 colors. And for every set of those, you're going to get 10 points. Total them all up. And there you go. That's the winner. Rampage. Great party game and very, very nice family game. All right. I used this at a Christmas party, and as everybody showed up, it was just set up on the front center. Actually, it was set up right here where I'm sitting right now. And the wine bottles came in just over there. And as everybody came in, they couldn't help but be attracted to it. People sat down without being invited, and they started to kind of inspect it and look at it from different angles and then say, how do we play it? Many of them knew they were coming over for several games of Werewolf later in the night. It was a Christmas type party, but they had no idea this was going to be here. I wasn't sure if it was going to make it in time with the shipping. And thank you, thank you, thank you. The 4 modes of play, you know, the chin on top of the dinosaur and the blowing, the dropping of the dinosaur, the flicking of the cars off the dinosaur's head. You had people queued up, ready to go after the first set were done. And I had to kind of elbow my way in to even get a game in. And the hardest part was keeping my son off of this center island because he wanted to get in and play. And I had to tell him, no, matter of fact, you got to go to bed. That caused some family strife or even some Rampage. So Rampage, fun, physicality. You got to let yourself go a little bit and become the monster. See you guys. Chief, Dice Tower.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.